Barrett, now that, growing up in Fayetteville, but also you kind of grew up at Razorback Stadium just with your family connection as well. Just what are the emotions headed back there on a short week?
I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be kind of a full circle moment for me. I grew up at that stadium, still have a lot of memories there. Can hear the announcer's voice in my head right now. So I'm really excited about it. I know the team's fired up and, we're ready to go.
And then since you've been with Eli the past 2 years or so, have you guys connected at all about your Arkansas connections, kind of, both growing up pretty close to each other?
Definitely. I think that's kind of been something that's been, I wouldn't say a foundation of our relationship, but something that we can, we have similar backgrounds, so to speak. He was the offensive coordinator at Springdale whenever my brother was playing at Fayetteville High. So it's cool that we were able to come from that same area and, our paths have crossed here in Columbia.
And then just what are some memories that you have when you think back to those state championship days with the Purple Dogs?
A lot of fun, it's really cool. I think last night with our senior night, just, looking at Akil and just saying, wow, we've done this together since 8th grade. And, you think back to all those playoff games. Like I know Fayetteville has a playoff game at home that Friday night, and we had one against Bentonville back in fall of 16. So, those memories are still very vivid, very fresh. I treasure those memories, and I'm glad we had the teams that we did whenever I was there.
Thanks, Barrett.
Bob Holt.
Hey, Barrett, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you, Bob?
You look different without your headband on. You usually have that.
I know. You'll see it on Friday. I'll have it on for you.
The ninja headband or whatever. When you think of you and Akil, you guys have never lost to Arkansas. Obviously, none of the other players on the team have either. Just what do you think about that and having the winning streak, and how big would it be to keep that going? Because Arkansas, they finally beat A&M. They wanted LSU. They finally beat Mississippi State at home. They've broken a lot of streaks, and they want to break this one. But obviously, you guys want to keep it going.
It sounds like you're trying to jinx us, Bob. That's
no.
No. I think it's something that we take pride in. Definitely. I think. We had mentioned we'd held this trophy for over 1,800 days, and we'd like to add another 365 onto that calendar. And I think everyone in this building knows it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a tough game. It always is, no matter what each other's record is or anything. And I was sitting there thinking back. I think this is the first time since I've been here that both teams have been bowl eligible going into this game, and there's a lot that both teams are still playing for. And, I think that's our goal, is to just go out and take care of business.
You've had some of your best games against Arkansas. I remember adding up in the preseason, but I remember you had some big catches last year on that game-winning drive, as I recall. Is that just happen that way, or do you get a little extra mojo for the Razorbacks, or what do you think the deal is with that?
I think this game's definitely personal for me. I don't know if it's anything inherently different that I try and do in this game, if that makes sense. But, coaches have put me in great positions to be successful. We just went out and executed, just happened to make a couple plays on that last drive, set up a game-winning field goal. I'm thankful that I've played well against them, but it's nothing that I've inherently tried to do, if that makes sense.
And then you've obviously had a really good career there. I mean, coming in as a walk-on, getting a scholarship, real good career numbers. I think you still have an extra year left if you want to use it. Am I right?
I do, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, how would you sum up your career to this point? And then what are your thoughts on whether you want to, if you want to play another year?
I think my career to this point's been very, I think grateful is the word. I came up here and Coach Odom gave me, the opportunity of a lifetime to be able to play in the SEC, play against teams that I grew up watching. And I'll forever be grateful to him for that. And then whenever Coach Trink came here, still trusting me to keep me on scholarship. Like whenever you're a walk-on, your scholarship's by the year. It's not by like when I signed the paper, like I have it for the rest of my career. So just people trusting me and putting their faith in me has meant a lot. And I think all the catches, the yards, touchdowns, all that stuff that's come with it has just kind of been a cherry on top. My goal is just to have been the best player that I can be, you know. Did you have a second part of the question? I can't.
Yeah,
Oh, yes, I got you. Yes, I have thought about my next year. I do want to keep playing football. You know, right now I'm just focused on this game on Friday.
Okay, thanks.
Nate Allen?
Yeah, Barrett, I was wondering if kind of how things went with your grandfather and uncle with Arkansas towards the end there. Did that affect you walking on at Missouri rather than taking an offer with Arkansas?
Well, actually, kind of what happened was I went on a couple of visits there, was asking for a preferred walk-on spot, and they weren't able to give that to me. They said I could come walk on, I believe it was the spring after that fall of 17, like do the regular walk-on tryout thing. And that just wasn't something that I was looking to do. I thought I had proven in high school football that I was a good enough player that deserved, you know, a preferred walk-on spot. And just so happened Taylor, our quarterback in high school, went up here and messaged Coach Odom for me, and Coach Odom gave me that opportunity. And so, you know, to be honest with you, if they would have given me that preferred walk-on spot, I probably would have been there just with how things turned out. But I'm grateful that I ended up here, and I think God got me in the right place.
Just feel like they were just kind of, the fact that you guys are local, they just kept kind of thought there were other bigger fish in the sea and just looked past local guys.
You know, I've heard a lot of stories. I don't know what's true, what isn't. You know, I think I'm just kind of looking at what's ahead. That's kind of, it's in the past. It is what it is. I'm not really bitter towards it. It's just kind of how things shaped out for me. And what those coaches at that point in time did is their decision. I was just a player.
And you and Coach Odom still, have you kept up with him at all, or do you all ever talk or anything?
We do. Coach Odom, I'm thankful for him. And he's been a good mentor to me. And, you know, I think someone that I will contact whenever I get into the coaching business as well. You know, I'm thankful for him and everything that he's done, and he's a great man.
Thank you.
Max Baker?
Hey, Barrett. I guess you sort of touched on this, but was Arkansas a place you always wanted to go when you were a kid? And I guess what memories do you have at that stadium? You sort of said you remember the stadium, but I was wondering what your maybe favorite memory of that stadium is.
Yeah, so I think favorite memory for me is they played in 2011. I believe it was #1 Alabama versus #7 Arkansas. And they opened up the game, and Mallet, I believe, hit, it was either Jarius Wright or Joe Adams on a crossing route, and 20-30 yard game. They got to near the 50, and then they ran a play. Essentially everyone's going one direction, back sneaks out the other side, and they hit Ronnie Wingo on a wheel route, made a guy miss, scored a touchdown. Probably the loudest I've ever heard a stadium, with maybe the exception of the Kick 6 Iron Bowl. I was at that game as well, but that's probably my most vivid memory of a game there. And so, you know, I still, every time they score a touchdown, Arkansas, I grew up there. And so I think it would be lying for me to say at some point in my career that I think I did want to go there at some point, but, you know, the cards just didn't turn out that way. And I'm thankful that I ended up here at Missouri.
And then is this game personal to you because you weren't really recruited? Is it personal because you, I don't know, like why you said you mentioned it was personal. I was wondering why it's personal for you. I know kind of why, but why for you?
You know, I think whenever somebody says that they don't want you and they don't think you're good enough, whether they inherently meant that or not, you take it. It put a chip on my shoulder. and it's been motivation for me throughout my whole college career. And like I said, that was the coach's decision. I was just a player going through the recruiting process. I'm sure they had a lot of kids just like me. But yeah, I mean, when someone doesn't think you're good enough to play at that level,
Yeah. Well, and then I guess the last thing I have is you mentioned sort of next year. I don't know if you've made up your mind or not, and you know it's your right to not whether you want to share when you want to share that, but I guess does part of you want to end your career in Fayetteville, and or does it sort of depend on how maybe these last couple weeks shake out for you if you haven't made up your mind yet?
I'm literally just focused on this game on Friday. I love Missouri, and that's kind of what's on my mind right now.
Thanks.
Bob Holt?
You know, I guess I never talked to you about coach, and obviously it's sort of the family business, but I find a lot of coaches try to talk their kids or nephews out of it. You don't want to do this, even though I've been doing it for 30 years. Have like Harold or Tim tried to tell you, no, go to law school or become a businessman or something?
Both of them probably with those exact words, how you just said it. Yeah, it's a thing that you weigh in your head because you know when they tell you it, there's some meaning behind it. You know, it's long hours, it's a grind. But then you also look at what Harold and Tim have done, and you see the joy that football brings to them and the joy that they get from mentoring young men. That's the things you look at and you're like, wow, that's really something that I have a passion for and something I would love to do. And, you know, if it's a couple more hours in the fall, it's a couple more hours, but you know, it's different. You get a couple weeks off in the spring and stuff like that. So yeah, they definitely have said that though.
But you want to go into coaching?
I think I do. I would for sure regret it if I didn't try. You know, I'm going to try and play football as long as I can and do it to the best of my ability. And then whenever I'm done with that, I'm going to for sure try and coach.
And then what do you thought about Akil's career? And of course, you know, he had that touchdown, the defensive lineman's dream of scoring a touchdown against Arkansas a couple of years ago. What do you thought about his career? And he came back for his COVID year. And what do you remember about that touchdown when he scored? Kind of what the team thought about that?
Yeah. You know, I think that just the biggest thing about Akil's career is just resilient. I mean, he, for the large majority of his senior year and a little bit of junior year, was committed to Bama. You know, things kind of shook up a little bit. He was a late qualifier and somehow in the whirlwind ended up at Mizzou with two other guys from our high school. And, you know, I think Akil has just been consistent in his attitude every single day. And he showed up for 6 years now, or 5, because he didn't redshirt, with a smile on his face, ready to go to work, no matter what his job was, no matter what his role was. And, you know, he's someone that has been a really, really good player for us and a big part of why we're successful.
I don't know how well, you know, obviously you play on the other side of the ball from Trey Williams and Mark Elitze, but what do you think about a couple old Mizzou guys playing for Arkansas against you guys?
I mean, I think they're both really good players. You know, Trey and Utsi, I had great conversations with them whenever they were here in Columbia. They're great dudes, and I wish them nothing but the best. And yeah.
Just one more. You think about all the connections. I don't know if I can think of another game where, you know, you and Akil are from Fayetteville. Eli grew up in Arkansas. Al Davis went to school here.
Mm-hmm.
And you got Barry over here and Michael Schur over here and Sam Carter over here.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Pittman coached at Missouri. I just and then the two guys we just talked about are over here. I mean, just what do you think about all those dynamics? And what do you think this game means to Eli? Do you think it means something extra, you know?
You know, I think, like I said, it's just kind of been a culmination. I think it's a culmination. Is that the right word? Culmination of a buildup in this rivalry. You know, I think whenever the SEC first kind of gave it to Mizzou and Arkansas, it was okay. They played in the Cotton Bowl. And since then, it hasn't really been anything. But slowly but surely, you know, you've seen games get more physical. You've seen games be closer. You've seen, trash talking, things like that. And I think that's just everything that goes into this game. Like you talked about with the connections, people know each other. And it's personal for a lot of people. It's not just personal for me. And I think both teams, like I said, are bowl eligible and they want to win games, and both teams have shown they know how to win games. So I think it's the starting of a good rivalry for years to come.
Got one more, if you don't mind bearing with me.
You guys can get all the questions you guys want. Ask away. I promise you.
Yeah, that was obviously a big win for y'all yesterday. Big deal to beat Florida, big deal to get bowl eligible. Great way to play on senior day. How much momentum, how big a win was that, and how much momentum do you guys bring into this game off that victory?
Yeah, I think, winning 2 in a row, beating South Carolina, beating them, both in close games, honestly. One we shouldn't have made close, but we did. It's just learning how to win. And I think that's momentum that we can take to these weeks. And, each team every single year is different. And being able to close out a game on a 4-minute drive versus South Carolina, being able to, we missed a field goal versus Florida and then get there and go to overtime. They score a touchdown. We're down and we got to go down, score, and then we got to go for 2 and win. You just take those experiences and you can put them in a memory bank and say, okay, we've been here before. And, that was good to see from us. We went against Kentucky on the road week 2. We had the ball in our hands to go win the game, and, we didn't get it done. Week 4, go up to Boston College, and we're in overtime, and we didn't get it done. And so I think growth has been important for us, just seeing our team, take those experiences that we had beginning of the year, learn from them, and then we're kind of seeing them come to fruition. And couple wins here the last couple weeks.
Okay, great, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Bob.
Anything else for Barrett Banister? All right, thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank y'all.
Appreciate you.